The first thing anyone ever noticed about Lena Marlowe was her beauty, not just the kind of beauty that made boys stare across the cafeteria or stumble when she passed them in the hallway. No. Lena carried a radiance that seemed impossible for a teenage girl to contain. Her eyes were soft pools of green, glimmering like polished glass under the fluorescent lights of Ravenwood High. Her smile was a weapon, sharp and intoxicating, pulling you closer whether you wanted to move or not. She didn't belong to cliques. She wasn't a cheerleader, or a theater girl, or even the quiet, honest student in the corner. She was simply Lena, and that was more than enough. Boys competed silently just for the chance to brush shoulders with her at her locker, to carry her books, to hear their names fall from her lips. And then, one by one, they began to disappear. It started with Tyler Finch, the night of homecoming. Tyler was last seen walking Lena to her house. His friends had cheered him on, clapping him on the back, laughing about how he'd scored the golden ticket. By Monday morning, Tyler was gone. The police called him a runaway. His parents begged on the evening news for him to come home. And Lena sat quietly in homeroom, eyes lowered, her lips pulling into a faint smile when no one was watching. Then came Marcus Day. 2 weeks later, he told his best friend he had plans with Lena. He never returned. His car was found parked on the curb 2 streets down from her house, keys still dangling in the ignition. At first, Ravenwood buzzed with gossip. Maybe the boys had formed a secret club. Maybe it was some elaborate prank. But the laughter dimmed as the list grew. Ethan, Caleb, Jonah, 6 vanished by the end of the semester. And through it all, Lena walked the halls like a phantom, always glowing, always untouchable, always alone. Oh, no one ever knew what happened when Lena invited a boy inside, but if you had stood in her living room, you would have seen the truth. The curtains drawn, blocking out the suburban streetlights, the air faint with a coppery sweetness, like old pennies resting on the tongue, and Lena, smiling sweetly, leading her date deeper into the house with a whisper soft, "This way, I don't bite." It was always the same. The boy sat nervously on the sofa while Lena disappeared into the kitchen. She'd return with glasses of something dark, rich, never quite cola, never quite wine. When the first sip passed his lips, his throat would tighten, his body trembling as dizziness swept over him. And then, Lena's smile would shift. Gone was the innocent curve of her lips. In its place came something feral, teeth glinting in the dim glow of a single lamp. She would crawl closer, her movements fluid, animalistic. By the time the boy realized what was happening, he was too weak to run. Lena didn't devour her meals all at once. No, she preferred them in pieces. A slice of flesh here, a strip of muscle there. She would feed slowly, savoring the panic in their eyes, the trembling in their limbs as they realized escape was impossible. Their screams were muffled, the walls of her home thicker than they seemed, lined with something no builder had placed there, something pulsing, alive. By dawn, there was never anything left but silence. Lena wasn't like other girls. She had always known this. Her hunger had begun when she was a child, gnawing at her insides, a desperate, clawing need that no food could soothe. Her parents had tried steak dinners, heaping plates of pasta, desserts piled high with cream, but nothing satisfied. The first time Lena tasted flesh, she was 12. A neighborhood dog had been hit by a car just outside her house. She had knelt beside its still body, trembling, tears streaking her cheeks, and then, without thinking, her hand had reached forward, tearing into the animal's side. Warmth had spilled over her fingers, into her mouth. She had swallowed, gasping, choking, and then the hunger was gone. Her parents had found her kneeling there, her mouth stained red. By morning, they too had vanished. Lena had learned to cover her tracks since then. A smile here, a laugh there, enough charm to make suspicion evaporate. And the boys, they were easy prey. Boys always were, but with each disappearance, whispers spread. Students avoided her gaze in the halls. Teachers glanced uneasily at her empty row during roll call, lingering for just a second too long. Still, the hunger grew. It wasn't until winter that Lena met Devon Hale. He transferred to Ravenwood just after Christmas break. A tall boy with sharp features and eyes that didn't seem to settle on anyone for long. His presence shifted the air. Not in the way Lena's beauty did, but in something colder, heavier, as though he carried shadows clinging to his back. Girls whispered about his crooked smile, his detached charm. Boys eyed him warily, unable to place what unsettled them so deeply. But Lena knew the moment she saw him Devon was different. She caught him watching her once, his eyes not filled with longing or nervous admiration like the others, but with something else, something that felt like recognition for the first time. Lena felt unease coil in her stomach. The test. She invited him over on a Friday night. Her voice was syrupy, her smile perfect. "Just come by. We can hang out. I don't get a lot of company." Devon had only nodded, no hesitation, no flicker of nerves. When he arrived, Lena led him into the living room like she had so many others. The lamp glowed faintly, the shadows long and eager. She poured the drink, crimson black, sliding the glass into his waiting hand, but Devon didn't sip. He only swirled the liquid slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. "You've been busy," he said softly, His voice like velvet stretched too thin. Lena froze. Excuse me, 6 boys, gone without a trace. He smiled, showing just a hint of his teeth. You eat so carelessly. You don't even bother with the bones, do you? Her heart slammed against her ribs. For the first time, Lena's perfect composure cracked. Devon leaned back in the chair, setting the glass aside untouched. Don't worry. I'm not here to stop you. His grin widened. I'm here because I'm hungry too. The air between them thickened, suffocating, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath. Lena's eyes darted to the shadows behind him, to the darkened corners of the room where she knew things stirred, waiting for her command, but Devon's presence silenced them. His aura was stronger, sharper, like teeth pressed against her skin. For the first time in her life, Lena realized she might not be the predator. She might be the prey. The silence stretched between them. Lena's lips parted, but no words came. No boy had ever spoken to her like this. They had always stumbled, blushed, begged for her attention. They had been blind sheep led willingly into her den, but Devon looked at her like a mirror. You're like me, she whispered finally, her voice trembling in a way she hated. Devon tilted his head, his eyes caught the weak light, reflecting something feral beneath the human facade. Not like you, he said, better. Lena's skin prickled. She tried to smirk, to regain control. That's a bold claim. You haven't even seen what I can do. Oh, I've seen enough, Devon murmured, leaning forward, elbows resting on his knees. The sloppy trails, the missing boys you think no one's connecting. You feed like a child, loud, messy, wasteful. Lena's nails dug into her palms. And what? You think you're some kind of expert? Devon's smile widened. Not warm, not human. I don't think, I know, that night, Lena didn't feed. She couldn't. Devon sat across from her, filling the room with his quiet dominance. When he finally left, she was shaking, her hunger gnawing at her insides worse than ever. For days afterward, she avoided him at school, but she felt him everywhere in the corner of her vision, down the hallway, across the cafeteria. His eyes followed her, cold and patient. Her hunger sharpened into desperation. She lured another boy, desperate to reassert her power. But when she dragged him into her home, when she bared her teeth and tasted the first warm slice of flesh, she felt Devon's shadow press against the back of her skull. Watching, judging, she couldn't finish. She left the boy whimpering, torn, and vanished into the dark of her room, clawing at her skin as though she could dig the hunger out. A week later, Devon approached her locker. His presence drew a hush from the nearby students. He leaned casually against the metal door, smiling that same crooked, dangerous smile. Dinner, he said. Lena blinked. What, my house, tonight? His voice left no room for refusal. Her instinct screamed to decline, to laugh, to toss her hair and walk away. But her hunger, raw and shrieking inside her, betrayed her. She nodded. Devon's home was nothing like hers. It wasn't warm or lived in. It was stark, the walls bare, the furniture sparse. The air smelled faintly metallic, sharper than the copper sweetness of Lena's den. He led her into the dining room. On the table lay a boy bound, gagged, still trembling with life. His wide eyes darted between them. Devon gestured gracefully, as though presenting a fine meal. Eat. Lena's throat tightened. Together, he smiled. If you can keep up. For the first time, Lena saw what Devon truly was. He tore into the boy without hesitation, without ceremony. His movements were precise, surgical, every bite clean. He left no waste, no trail, not even a drop of blood to stain the white cloth beneath. The boy's screams were muffled, fading swiftly into nothing as Devon worked. Lena, trembling, forced herself to feed beside him, but next to Devon, she looked clumsy, her bites ragged, her trembling hands betraying her. She felt his eyes on her, judging, dissecting. When it was over, there was nothing left. No body, no scraps, not even the bones. Devon leaned back, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. Do you see now? He whispered. Lena said nothing. The weeks that followed twisted Lena into something she no longer recognized. Her hunger grew unbearable. Devon had unsettled her, unbalanced her. She tried to hunt, but each time, the thought of him watching, mocking, made her falter. Her beauty no longer felt like power. It felt like a mask slipping, revealing her trembling core. Finally, she snapped. She cornered Devon after school, her eyes blazing. You think you're better than me? He smiled, as though he'd been waiting. I don't think, I know. Her nails raked against the lockers. Then prove it. Devon's smile widened, gladly. It was midnight when Lena lured him back to her home. The house felt alive, pulsing with the whispers of her past victims. The walls seemed to breathe, the floors creaked with unseen movement. She led him into the living room, her sanctuary, her hunting ground. The lamp glowed faintly. They shadows waiting. This is my house, she said, her voice trembling but strong. Here, I'm the predator. Devon stepped inside, calm, unshaken. Show me. Lena's smile stretched, too wide. The shadows stirred, crawling across the walls, forming shapes that reached for him. The air grew thick, stifling, alive with her hunger. But Devon didn't flinch. He moved faster than her eyes could follow, tearing through the shadows, ripping the life from the walls themselves. Lena screamed. lunging at him, teeth bared, but he caught her mid-strike, his hands closing around her wrists like iron. You've been sloppy for too long, he hissed. His grip tightened until her bones cracked. Lena shrieked, thrashing, but he tore her arm free, the sound wet and final. Her blood sprayed the walls, painting them in vivid red. Devon's teeth sank into the severed limb, his eyes gleaming with cold satisfaction. You're not a predator, Lena, he whispered between bites. You're a child playing at hunger, piece by piece. He dismantled her. Her screams echoed through the house. Swallowed by the pulsing walls, he devoured her slowly, savoring every shred of her power. Her beauty faltered, twisted, fading into nothing as he consumed her. By dawn, Lena Marlowe was gone. Ravenwood woke to whispers once more, but this time, it wasn't about Lena, it was about Devon. He walked the halls with calm confidence, the girls staring, the boys uneasy. He didn't need to hide, he didn't need to lure, he was hunger perfected. And somewhere, deep in the marrow of the school, the shadows trembled. Devon's smile lingered as he passed the empty locker where Lena's books once rested. His tongue brushed his teeth, savoring the phantom taste. There would be more, always more, because Ravenwood High had never seen a predator like him.